I think if we take a look at what Black households were capable of when Black households existed, when we look at Black Wall Street, when we look at Seneca Park, when we look at the multitude of communities that have existed across North America, around the world, of what Black people have been able to build, to curate for themselves, when Black families existed, therefore Black community truly existed. If you do not want that, and you do not want the progression of Black people, the easiest thing to do to make sure that that never happens again is to destroy Black families. Because without the nuclear family, you don't have community.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't have community, you don't have progression.
And I think to piggyback off that, to Coach K's point earlier, I think the way American culture is set up, Black people usually create something that's popular and then it gets adopted and removed from out our hands, like rock and roll or something. I think that the issue that the white community is going through is a direct relation to that, because we when which is the weirdest thing, because if something gets done to our community, even with drugs, like the drug epidemic, it ravished us, and then it just moved to your community next. And with rock and roll, it was our thing. Then it was taken and it became y'all community's thing after that. They doing it with rap right now. I won't be surprised if 20 years from now we see white boys drilling and acting just like Chief Keef now. And I see it peeking his head up in hip hop, because it's the same effort that was done with rock and roll to remove it from our group to make it to the majority group and then isolate us out of it. It's the same exact thing that's happening right now.
So can I ask y'all this, and then you tell me and explain why? So when we look at it historically, right, these narratives and stories and this push about Black men and even Black women, you know, in terms of the negative stereotypes, Black men are lazy, you know, Black women are the mammies or either the sexual deviants, things like that. So this narrative has been pushed for years, hundreds of years, right? So what do you think the difference is between that narrative being pushed then, but the Black family structure as best as it could, because you got to think of the systemic aspects of it that kind of tore it apart, but as best as they could still came together, versus now when we still have these same negative stereotypes on you know, Black men and Black women, and yet we are not pushing towards each other.
Oh, daddies. It's simple. Daddies.
No, women empowerment and finance. It allowed that narrative to be pushed, that you don't need the father to trigger my point, and you can operate independently of that. Because fathers, we provide as safeguards and all the things that enter the home. We sit there and fight them off. Our job to keep all penises out our home, and all other ideas we don't like from inside our home. You remove that, the penises come in freely, and so
literally they found the cheat code. They were like, we don't want to fight them on the governmental front. We can't fight them by trying to go in their communities and kill them. We can just enact legislation to try to slowly remove them from the home and give them women a choice over them, and that worked better than anything.
So I'm gonna add another complex layer to this, right? What the gentlemen have said is all very, very true, right? Like, men are the frontline defense for any of that type of influence to come into the family. I think the greatest thing that this infrastructure has been able to accomplish is to make people willing participants to fall into that mentality, where women are choosing to stay single, where women are choosing to be single mothers, where women are choosing to opt into the system that does not benefit them. That has been the greatest accomplishment to keep this going, and what has been the biggest difference in like the difficulties of creating families back then than it is now, where people were enforced, where families were separated during times of slavery. Now people are choosing to separate their families. That is the big difference, right? It's that indoctrination that has allowed people to think that this is for their benefit.
Yeah, so they don't have to force them, because they can't, as they did once, before. So that's just the craziest part when you really like look at all of this. It's just no, it's just so crazy.
That's why my whole thing. I know me and Ali go back and forth about this all day, and my thing is I can't isolate my kids in the world and fix the world to fix everything. You have to create a safe space for your family. You have to instill the values that you want and protect your family so that they have the tools to fight these things off when they go out into the world. You're not going to be able to just conquer the world so your family is safe. You got to prepare your family to fight the world. That's my general thought.
So it seemed like to me the only thing, and I know this sounds bad, but I think it's true when I look at the historically, that we have to be put in a position where we have to rely on each other, right? Because in back then you had economic reasons where you had to rely on each other. Then you look historically, with slavery, we had no choice, right? So
Yeah.
it seems like at this point, the only thing that would save the Black family unit is a situation that would occur where we are forced to rely on each other.
Well, there's no reason to force this. Society always corrects itself. The people in the 80s and the crack epidemic and all this type of stuff, their children didn't make the same mistakes they did from seeing what their parents went through. Society is always going to correct itself. Here's my best guess on how this is going to happen. One big reason it's going to happen sooner than I anticipated, after reading some articles last week about Chat GPT. What kind of jobs, if y'all know, do women do in general? Women chose careers and jobs over their men. Women do admin jobs. Well, all of those admin jobs are about to be eliminated by AI.
Automation.
They're about to be eliminated. So all of that choosing the job over your man, oops, your job is about to be eliminated by AI. But the other reason why you see women being so bold is because we were just talking about this earlier about how people take care of mom. Women don't think about the future at all when they make these decisions at all. Inaz talked about how culture is supposed to take care of people, and especially the women when they die. There is no culture anymore. These women didn't have any foresight to think, well, damn, will my kids even want to take me in or be set up and be put in a position to do that? It is literally the man living in a house in which a man and a woman are working and paying, and then the man takes over and finishes payment on that house for them to even have something to sell to take care of mom. So all of these things are going to come to a head when 50% of the American female population will be single. Nobody's going to know what to do with it. And then the people who see this catastrophe aren't going to want anything to do with it, right? They're going to start like making different decisions just because it's so bad for their mothers and the women who, weren't married and all of that.